What you just heard were flashbangs used by SWAT in Jackson County.
Actually, I think what they said is, come out with your hands up. We have a warrant.
America, we just uncovered a sophisticated drug trafficking operation in Georgia, and it reads something out of a cartel movie. Federal agents just took down a massive drug ring in Athens that was armed with, get this, a grenade launcher, 26 firearms, including 12 rifles, and enough fentanyl to kill 6.9 million people. But here's what's really disturbing. This operation was ran by repeated offenders who had already served prison time for drug trafficking, got out, and immediately went back to poisoning Georgia communities. We're talking about a criminal enterprise that was distributing fentanyl, cocaine, meth, and heroin, while Georgia's overdose deaths hit 2,649 in 2023. That is a 53% increase from the previous year.
In a major crackdown on gang activity, the FBI says it arrested 17 alleged gang members in connection to a violent drug trafficking ring.
The FBI's Atlanta office joined the Safe Streets Gang Task Force to make those arrests.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This bust exposes exactly how Mexican cartels have established permanent distribution networks in American college towns, while our justice system keeps releasing the same criminals over and over again. Let me break down what federal agents seized during this operation, because the numbers are kind of staggering. We're talking about 26 kilograms of cocaine with a street value of $780,000, 1.7 kilograms of fentanyl worth $60,000, 50 grams of methamphetamine, and 5.4 ounces of crack cocaine, 2.4 pounds of marijuana, and 128 controlled pharmaceuticals. What makes this operation particularly terrifying is the weapons. They seized 26 firearms in total. This wasn't a drug operation. This was a paramilitary organization prepared for war with law enforcement.
And while the homeowner didn't want to go on camera, he tells me law enforcement kicked in his downstairs door and arrested a person living with him. When I asked why, he didn't care to elaborate. The FBI posted these pictures to their Facebook account, saying agents were out arresting gang members as part of Operation Summer Heat.
The operation involved 13 federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies executing 12 search warrants across Athens and Atlanta. This included the FBI Athens Middle Georgia Safe Streets Gang Task Force, the DEA, Georgia Bureau of Investigations, and multiple sheriff's office. When it takes 13 agencies to take down one drug ring, you know you're dealing with something sophisticated. Here's what's going to make your blood boil about this case. Multiple defendants in this operation are repeat offenders who already served prison time for serious felony drug convictions. Ulysses Borja, Orlando Muckle, Joey Campbell, and Bernard Walker all served prison time for prior drug trafficking, got out, and immediately went back to dealing drugs.
U.S. Attorney Will Keyes unsealed 2 federal indictments and 1 criminal complaint charging that group with a variety of drug conspiracy and distribution charges. If they are convicted, they all face a maximum of life in prison.
Patrick Wilkins is a convicted felon who was illegally possessing 5 firearms. So we have a guy that's already been convicted of felonies, prohibited from owning guns, but he has 5 firearms while trafficking drugs. This is exactly what happens when our justice system treats drug traffickers like minor offenses instead of the terrorism that it actually is. The main player of this operation was Eliseo Yanez Pinea, also known as Choquito, a 48-year-old, you guessed it, from Mexico. This shows connection between Mexican cartels and drug distribution in Georgia communities. This wasn't just local dealers. This was an international criminal organization with tentacles reaching into college towns. To understand why this bust is so significant, we need to understand the scope of Georgia's drug crisis. In 2023, Georgia recorded 2,649 fentanyl overdose deaths, a 53% increase from 2022. That's more than 7 people dying from fentanyl every single day in Georgia. The 1.7 kilograms of fentanyl seized in this operation could have produced approximately 850,000 lethal doses. But that's just what they caught. How much fentanyl has this organization already distributed into Georgia communities over the years while they were operating? What makes this even more disturbing is that Athens is a college town. The University of Georgia has over 40,000 students, and this drug ring was operating right in their backyard. College students are particularly vulnerable to fentanyl because they often don't know what they're taking. It's mixed into fake prescription prescription pills and powders and other drugs. The fact that this organization was distributing fentanyl where a person under 18 was present shows that they have no regard to children's safety. They're willing to expose kids to deadly drugs and violence that comes along with this drug trafficking. This wasn't just a local operation. This was a sophisticated distribution network that had been operating for years. From January 2024 to May 2025, the Yanez Pineda group distributed more than 400 grams of fentanyl and more than 50 grams of methamphetamine in the Athens region. But there was a second group led by Orlando Muckle, who had been operating even longer. From October 2020 to present, this group distributed more than 400 grams of fentanyl and more than 5 kilograms of cocaine in Athens. So we're talking about multiple criminal organizations operating simultaneously in the same area.
People living on Jimmy Reynolds Drive and Tyler Circle in Arcade say the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, and SWAT were outside this home around 6 o'clock in the morning.
The distribution locations included Certain Drive, Essex Court, Commerce Parkway, and Jennings Mill Parkway, basically all throughout Athens. This shows how these cartels establish permanent infrastructure in American communities. They're not just passing through, they're setting up shop and treating our cities like their personal territory. This bust is part of Operation Take Back America, President Trump's nationwide initiative that marshals full resources of the Justice Department to eliminate cartels and transnational criminal organizations. This is exactly the kind of coordinated approach we need to dismantle these type of networks. The charges in this case carry some serious prison time. Due to the massive amounts of drugs and weapons involved, most defendants face a mandatory minimum sentence and potentially life in prison. That is real accountability for people who are poisoning Georgia communities while armed with military-grade weapons.
So we're not just hitting random people. We're not just like pulling the slot machine hoping we get something. No, there's a background information that's done. A lot of legwork is done, and really in this particular instance,
this is a targeted operation based on extensive investigation and intelligence gathering. The fact that this investigation involved wiretaps and coordination between 13 agencies shows the level of sophistication required to take down these networks. You can't just arrest street dealers. You have to dismantle the entire organization. America, this Athens drug bust perfectly illustrates why we need President Trump's tough approach to cartels and repeat offenders. We had Mexican cartels operating and working with American repeat felonies to flood a college town with enough fentanyl to kill nearly 7 million people, all well armed with grenade launchers and military-grade weapons. The fact that multiple defendants were repeat offenders who had already served prison time for drug trafficking shows exactly what's wrong with our justice system. These people should have been locked up for decades after their first conviction, not released and immediately resumed poisoning communities. Georgia's fentanyl deaths increased 53% in 2023, and operations like this one are directly responsible for that carnage. When you have international criminal organizations establishing permanent distribution networks in college towns, you're going to see a massive increase in overdose deaths. The good news is that 17 people are now behind bars, and the network that was bringing military-grade weapons and massive quantities of fentanyl into Athens has been destroyed. But this is just one operation. The cartels have similar networks operating in cities across America. That's why we need to treat cartels like terrorist organizations. When you're killing thousands of Americans every year with fentanyl while armed with grenade launchers, you deserve to be hunted down with the full force of American military and intelligence capabilities. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.